watch some crime. I've got 4 videos that I've been meaning to watch for a while, and it's taken me too long because other stuff's gotten in the way. So we're going to watch these, at least 1 or 2, until I feel like doing something. I don't know if I feel like doing something. We'll see. I'm going to finish my lunch, and we're going to watch this and have a good time. Thoughts, chat? Prayers?
The first year of marriage has a reputation for being the hardest. In the case of Josh Fulgham and Heather Strong, it wasn't difficult. It was catastrophic. Just 11 days after their wedding, Josh was jailed for pointing a gun at his new bride and threatening to shoot her. The honeymoon was over, and things only got worse from there. In this case, the marriage vow, "Till death do us part," took on a grave meaning.
Oh boy.
Before
Damn,
we begin, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the family and loved ones of the victim in this case, Heather Strong.
W Channel. W Channel for
this
that.
This case takes place in Marion County, a north central Florida community.
Oh boy.
That's where Josh Fulgham and Heather Strong called home. He was 27, she 26. Their relationship had spanned a decade, more than a third of their lives. It was a roller coaster ride shadowed by violent outbursts and infidelity. There were breakups followed by makeups. Despite their problems, the pair couldn't seem to sever the bonds that tied them. Part of their connection was the 2 children they shared, an 8-year-old girl and a 2-year-old boy. Before this tragedy reached a point of no return, there was a time when it seemed like Josh and Heather were finally going to break away from each other for good. Josh had been dating a woman named Amelia Carr off and on for about 2 years. When the 24-year-old single mother of 3 got pregnant with Josh's child, he asked her to marry him, but their engagement was short-lived. Following an argument with Amelia, Josh withdrew his proposal. He took the ring back and married Heather instead.
That's crazy.
Heather and Josh tied the knot on December 26, 2008, but making their union official didn't dissolve the tensions that simmered between them. On the evening of January
like that's not
5th,
how you fix things.
Josh demanded that Heather give him her ex-boyfriend's phone number. When she refused, he pointed a shotgun at her and threatened, "You're going to give me the number or the shooting starts here and then I go to Ben's." Josh was arrested the next day. In a phone call Josh made to Heather from the jail, he talked about his predicament.
Hello?
They said gun, not shotgun.
I'm not. Josh, because I can't, you promised me I can't live like this.
Well, are you going to push this or what?
You're not going to do that, Josh. You're going to kill me when you get out of there.
Josh was in jail fuming for a month. The anger he felt for Heather reporting him to the police intensified. Meanwhile, Heather was moving on. Just 3 days after Josh was arrested, she started living with another man named Jamie Acom. Jamie was no stranger to Amelia. They had known each other since Amelia was 15 years old, and they had once been in a relationship as well. Jamie had fathered one of Amelia's 3 children. He was also the person who introduced Amelia to Josh and Heather. Despite all the back and forth between Heather, Josh, Amelia, and Jamie, and the tensions it spawned, the 4 of them still hung out sometimes. The 2 women even babysat for each other's children occasionally. Amelia described their complicated relationships to Marion County Detective Donald Bowie after Heather went missing.
Donald Bowie?
I hope and pray that you know nothing.
I think someone that you need to speak a little bit more to would probably be Jamie Acom, because you mentioned the triangle with me, Josh, and Heather, but it's more of a square because Jamie's got a lot of anger and animosity towards both me and Josh for multiple reasons.
Listen to me. I understand it, but listen to me. Put yourself in my position.
Oh, I'm trying to.
Josh is telling everybody that he was the last person with her.
Okay, why would he say that if he'd have hurt her?
After Josh was arrested for pointing a shotgun at Heather, Amelia did what she could to get him out of jail. She made calls on his behalf and lent him $1,700 towards his
I'm just going to assume it's her based off of the title.
$5,000 legal bill. He was released after 31 days. Josh could be convincing where Heather was concerned, and he persuaded her to retract her statements to police that led to his aggravated domestic assault charge. Just 1 week after signing that paperwork, Heather disappeared. The last time anyone heard from Heather was on February 15th. That day, she took a call from Josh while working her shift at the Iron Skillet, a restaurant located in a local petrol station. Co-workers noticed that she was visibly upset after the call. Josh told Heather that he was seizing custody of their 2 children immediately because of information he found out about Jamie Acom. The next morning,
there's no, I mean, unless the stuff with Jamie's bad, there's no way, because legitimately he's got criminal charges. That's going to be hard to, that'd be whatever.
On February the 16th, Heather didn't show up for the morning shift. That wasn't customary for her. According to the manager, she had always been reliable and a responsible employee. Heather's cousin in Mississippi, Misty Strong, was worried as well. Typically, Misty communicated with Heather daily by phone or email. Josh told everyone who inquired that Heather had gone to Mississippi, but Misty had not heard from her, and neither had her mother. Misty filed a missing person report on February the 24th. Police opened an investigation. At first, Heather's status was listed as missing, but as the detectives began asking questions, that was escalated to missing and endangered on March the 18th. Detectives spoke to the Iron Skillet's bookkeeper and found out that Heather's bank card, which was tied to her paycheck deposits, had been used several times from the 16th until the 19th when the funds ran dry. They pulled security footage and spotted someone using Heather's card. Of course, it was not Heather. The person wore what appeared to be a leaf blower. They knew Josh was employed by a landscape maintenance company.
Stupid. We just kill or kidnap this person and use their money
towards Heather. Carolyn Spence, Heather's mother, told police that Josh had threatened her daughter many times. 3 years earlier, Josh had called Carolyn to say that he had tied Heather up, duct taped her mouth, and put her in the trunk of his car. He told Carolyn that it would be the last time she would hear her daughter's voice. He said he was going to dump her in the river where the alligators would eat her alive. Carolyn could hear Heather's voice in the background mumbling, as if her mouth was gagged.
Bro?
Josh quickly became a suspect in Heather's disappearance, the prime
How do you
suspect.
not get
and
your daughter and
also
move?
thought the woman who was now 8 months pregnant with Josh's child, Amelia Carr, might know something about what happened to Heather. It was hard to imagine that she had killed Heather while she was 7 months pregnant, but it was too early to rule out any possibilities. Josh and Amelia were questioned at the Marion County Sheriff's Office. They were placed in rooms that were side by side. For the next couple of days, detectives interviewed them separately for hours over multiple sessions. They bounced back and forth between the 2 rooms, gathering information as they compared Josh and Amelia's stories.
She said she wanted to get the hell out of Dodge. Wanted me to keep the kids, but when she gets it cleared up, she's coming home. And Heather always coming home. She always does, and I've always taken her back, but this time I'm not taking her back.
At first, Amelia protected Josh and told the police that he would not hurt Heather.
Do you, honestly, you think Josh is capable of doing something or would do something to her?
Honestly, no.
Why?
I really don't, because in 11 years of all the crap they've been through.
He's beat her ass in 11 years.
Yeah.
I have.
I was about to say, like,
where he has threatened her.
He's done it multiple times, clearly.
He's put a gun on her and Benjamin. And that's what he went to jail for.
Okay. And that got tossed out.
You know why he got tossed out?
Why?
Because Josh's mom called Heather, threatening her. And Heather went and dropped charges. That's why that got tossed out.
As police grew more skeptical of Amelia's story, she backed away from her original narrative. She indicated that she knew more and asked for immunity as a trade-off for providing information. Her defense for everything she had done so far was that she feared what Josh might do to her if she did not comply with his wishes.
I'm just gonna keep the captions on because they have them like half the time and half the not, and
He's on the phone right now.
Can you make sure nothing happens? I'm serious.
Sergeant Spivey came to me and told me that you had some new information that you want to talk to me about. No one has promised you anything, correct? No one's coerced you in any way. This is all voluntary and your free will to talk to us. To me,
stupid.
correct?
Stupid.
You understand that your rights still apply.
Yeah.
They're not gonna give her shit.
You're going to tell me the truth. From point A to Z. Okay. Tell me.
In earlier interviews, Amelia had denied knowing anything about Heather's disappearance. But then she changed her story.
This last week and a half, things have been really tense. And every time I mention going home to my mom, he would tell me, I wouldn't do that. You're not going to take her. Heather took my kids from me. And I asked him, what are you talking about? And he told me, well, you don't want to come missing like she did. And then missing, he said she's in Mississippi. He goes, well, she's closer than you think. And we kind of got into it. And that's when he told me that he had, I don't know if he said he strangled or he choked her or whatever, but he said he did that and that he was in that back trailer. Now see, what I don't understand is when he told me that he killed her, I don't know where at, but I know he had her in my mom's back trailer is what he told me. She wouldn't come there willingly. There's no way that girl would come there.
How would he get into that trailer?
It doesn't lock. See, we store stuff back there. And the door, it doesn't lock. It doesn't even latch.
Which door?
The only one that we use, me and my mom, it's the closest one.
With only a wall separating Josh and Amelia at the police station, they could sometimes hear each other's raised voices.
No way.
At one point, the interview room camera captured Josh with his head pressed against the wall, trying to hear what Amelia was telling detectives.
Some statements you have made. I'm telling you, if you want me to go down this road, it's not going to look pretty for you. You know, there's a lot of people that we're going to be talking to.
Oh, no.
Okay? And if there's something you need to tell me, this is the time to tell me right now.
Oh, I'm hoping you guys find her. I mean...
Well, we're going to find her with your help.
Because, I mean, it'd be...
With your help, we're going to find her. Okay? And I need you to understand that. I need your help.
And I'm here to help. I mean, we've got kids who need both parents.
If you know something, this is the time, this is our opportunity, because you want to see that baby being born.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay?
Yeah.
You don't want something to bite you in the behind if you know something.
No.
Okay?
On February 15th, the day that Heather disappeared, she finished her shift at the restaurant at 3 p.m. and arrived home a half an hour later. Jamie was there but left soon after. That was the last time he saw Heather. Josh told police that he picked up his kids at Heather's place later that day and took them to his mother's house. Then, that evening, around 8 p.m., he claimed he got a call from Heather asking him to bring $500 to her at the petrol station so she could leave town for a while. According to Josh, when he got there, she was waiting outside with a red-wheeled suitcase and a black duffel bag. She was wearing blue jeans and a gray T-shirt with a flag on it. But when police pulled video footage from the petrol station, Heather was nowhere to be seen.
Video.
Of what?
Of Heather.
I mean, like, why do people say this shit? Like, how do you not?
All day. All day.
It's crazy to me how, like, cameras are fucking everywhere, man. Like, what do you think? You think a gas station doesn't have any cameras? Like, at all? You think that they can't corroborate your story in any regard? Like, it's crazy. I don't get it.
All night.
A few days after Heather's disappearance, Jamie got a call from Josh. He said he was back together with Heather and that Jamie needed to move out, which he did the next day. Josh warned Jamie to never contact Heather again. Police still don't know if Heather had decided to leave town on her own or if something horrible had happened to her. As proof that her disappearance was voluntary, Josh showed detectives a letter his mother had typed up for him on the computer stating that Heather was giving her 2 children to him. He claimed it was Heather who signed it.
Why? She didn't handwrite a letter.
I don't know, man. What's that?
Why she didn't
handwrite? Won't look better typed out.
Why did she handwrite
But
a
don't
letter?
it look better typed out?
Huh?
Don't it look better when...
Look at the posturing, dude. Look at this interview posture. He's in a corner and the cop is right up to him. Why are they sitting so close? Because this is a tactic. This is an interview tactic. An interrogation technique. This is like a power move for the officer. It's a pressure technique. It's like getting real close to him to pressure him for like an answer or to put the heat on him. Just kiss. Not I don't think that's the angle he's going at here, but
when something's typed out instead of handwritten.
No, actually looks better when it's handwritten. If it's coming from a parent that says, I'm giving my child to Josh. I'm hauling ass out of town. I want him to have full custody of this child.
Well, I wish the hell I'd have had her done that then. I honestly do. I wish the hell that's what I'd have had her done.
Who signed her name on it?
She did.
Your mama signed her name?
No. Heather signed her name.
You signed her name?
No. Heather signed her name.
Your sister signed her name?
No.
Because you know we got handwriting analysis, right?
Yeah.
Okay, did you threaten her to sign her name?
Man, come on now. This shit's not gone too far.
Huh?
No, I did not.
You wanted them kids. You didn't want her to have
No,
them.
I'm going to be honest with you, man.
You
I'm
didn't want
having
her to.
had no.
You didn't want her. She was sitting up here telling you. She was telling you. She was going. You weren't gonna never see them kids.
No, she was not.
Mm-hmm.
No, she wasn't.
Josh explained to the detectives that Heather believed there might be a warrant out for her arrest, so she wanted to skip town by herself until the heat died down.
Oddly,
but everyone else who knew Heather insisted she would never abandon her children. Heather had taken off before to stay with family and friends in Mississippi, but she always brought her children with her. At first, Josh and Amelia vehemently denied any involvement in Heather's disappearance, but as law enforcement drilled down on their stories, the accounts provided by Josh and Amelia began to disintegrate. Amelia held out longer than Josh, but detectives picked apart her web of lies and started to suspect that she may have taken part in the murder.
All these things, and what do you think that you are guilty of then?
I know what I'm guilty.
What do you think it would be appropriate?
But I just wish that you would take into consideration that I was fucking scared.
Tell me what you think you're guilty of.
Helping a monster.
I'm sorry? Of being a monster?
And helping a monster.
I didn't understand.
Helping a monster.
Oh, helping a monster.
Yeah, it's like it's full of shit. And then when you get back and you see the look in someone's eyes, and you are terrified for yourself, because if he's doing that to her, what makes you think that if I...
The terror is gone when he goes to jail. He's in jail, and you're sitting there telling his sister that you're still trying to put it off on Jason and Jamie. You still, to this day,
Because that's what she
trying
wanted to hear.
That's not what she wanted to hear. She knew the truth. She wanted to hear the truth from you.
There was no evidence that Josh had ever been violent towards Amelia before, and she told police that he had never hurt her like he did Heather. But as the detectives started drilling down on her story and finding inconsistencies, she maintained that she only lied because she was scared that Josh would hurt her if she didn't.
Fear is not an issue with you.
What do you mean?
Fear has never been an issue with you. You have never been afraid of Josh.
Didn't they say they'd give her immunity? That doesn't mean they have to.
You guys took someone's life.
Afraid he might leave you.
I mean, they can ask for immunity and the police can say sure, but unless it gets written down contractually, they don't actually have to. That's why you have to have the police write anything down for if you're going to actually talk to them. You're better off just not talking to them. But if you're going to somehow flip, like, they don't technically have to give you any unless they write it down. I mean, you could probably argue, maybe get it, but at the same time, they don't technically owe you anything if they don't actually sign it, etc., and get it approved by a judge or whatever.
No, I wasn't afraid of him leaving because I left him. I left him.
Do you understand me? Fear was not an issue.
I was afraid to go against him.
Amelia didn't only throw Josh under the bus, she insinuated that Jamie Acom and his friend Jason Lotshaw might have been the ones who killed Heather. She pointed a finger at anyone who might take the focus off of her. Jamie and Jason were brought in for questioning, but Amelia's plan to pin the murder on Jamie backfired when he informed detectives that he had witnessed Amelia attack Heather in January when he was living at Heather's place.
Amelia had Heather's hair wrapped around her hand and like this and had the knife to her throat. Well, I had told her, don't do that, whatever you're doing, you're tripping out, you overreacted. So they both calmed down. She told me to get Amelia and get her the hell out of her house.
Jason Lotshaw cooperated with detectives just as Jamie did. He told them his suspicions when it came to Amelia.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I've had a feeling the whole time since that girl came up missing that I had a feeling that Amelia had something to do with it.
Jamie and Jason had good reason to wonder about Amelia. In their interviews, they independently told police a chilling story. While driving together in a truck, she had offered them $500 to get Heather drunk and to bring her to Amelia. She told them that she wanted to snap her neck. They thought it was a joke and laughed it off.
Well,
if I'm looking at it like this, let a jury look at it like this. Where you guys are in a triangle.
Oh, that's a mess.
You guys are in a triangle. I don't know if y'all all had relationships together, but that's your business if you did. But I'm getting rumors that you guys did. I can care less. Okay? Huh? I could care less. But I'm telling you, right now you guys are in a triangle. And look where it's at. Okay? You got him leading both of you guys on. You got him loving her more than he loves you. And I'm just being honest. He wants her, she don't want him. He wants to take the kids, but he knows that's how. The only way he can financially support himself is having those kids. Because if she take the kids from him, he got to pay child support. Okay?
Oh, I know about child support.
He took her credit cards. Did he tell you that?
I was under the impression that she left him because she was coming back. She's left and came back so many other times.
No.
Police immediately arrested Josh. They had him on fraud charges for using Heather's credit card, but they didn't have enough evidence to hold Amelia. That amplified tension between the pair.
Yeah, because they have to let her go if they don't have anything on her yet, totally concrete, but because they caught him using those cards, I mean, they can arrest him for fraud and then just basically interrogate him on something totally not relevant to the fraudulent charges, or fraud charges, not fraudulent. Kind of a funny way the system works.
And the police used that discomfort to their advantage, being questioned.
Yeah, I was about to say too, because it kind of also helps the police here because he can't really necessarily communicate with her unless they know and he calls her using something they monitor. So that's kind of, this is a huge advantage for them in the sense that like they have no way of communicating if they were on it together, or even if it was her and she's throwing him under the bus or anything, because he has no way of getting in touch with her unless they're fully aware of the conversation. So they're kind of they're in a pickle.
And in an interview room made Josh Jones for a cigarette. Detectives would not let him smoke in the interview room. They thought they could parlay his craving to their advantage, so they offered to take him outside to smoke, and they kept a tape recorder running.
Yep. Not shocking.
What did Amelia tell you? Did she get to go home?
Mm-hmm. Yes, she did.
How come she got to go home and I can't?
Maybe she was a little bit more honest. See how that works?
I'm going to tell you this is what I was told. Right here. I was told she was gone, leave it alone. That's what I was told, that she's gone to leave it alone.
Detective Bowie confronted Amelia with the tape recording of Josh blaming her for the murder.
Oh, favorite part. I love when they play these. The crunching sound was probably like the recorder in his shirt or something, since it was secretive. I love when they show these. I love the bomb show in the interrogation room. Let's see if she talks or not.
Your heart is about to jump out of your chest.
Because I was home at my mama's.
Your heart is about to jump out of your chest.
That pisses me off.
Okay. Don't do this to yourself.
But what?
Don't do this to yourself.
Ask my mom. I was home.
Don't do
that
this to
night.
yourself.
What is he saying I did?
That you set it up.
Set what up though?
It was getting late and everyone involved in the investigation was exhausted. Detectives decided to start the process of arresting Josh to put him in jail for the night with the intention of starting their interviews again in the following morning. But to their astonishment, just as Detective Bowie began to gather Josh's belongings, he had a sudden change of heart.
Take me to jail.
That's where you want to go, my man.
That's where I want to go, man. I got no choice.
You got no choice.
I don't know what else to do.
What else you got in the park?
Wow. You let me take that by my mama if I take you to? We'll go right now.
You take me to where Heather is. I'll take your wallet to your mama.
You want to take me by and let me talk to mom?
You take me to Heather first.
And you take me by my mom?
That's a promise.
Let's go.
All right,
I want this shit off.
Yeah, all this is happening.
Can we start getting back to cigarette?
Yes, we will.
I'm in this shit on my own, man.
Sergeant Spivey and Bowie scrambled to hit the road as fast as possible before Josh changed his mind. The three of them took off driving the 15 miles to Amelia's mother's home.
Man, I'm gonna tell y'all this right now, man. I didn't do this shit. I ain't have it done, but I know it was done.
Okay. And you're taking us to her. It's the right thing to do.
I'm told she was.
It's the right thing to do, man.
That night, Josh led police to Heather's grave. Detective Bowie stuck a stick in the ground and he felt it give way. He knew Heather was down there. Early the next morning, investigators returned to tackle the gruesome task of digging Heather out of the ground. Her body was so decomposed that only her left thumbprint was recognizable. Police took Amelia back to the scene of the murder, hoping she would slip up and say something to implicate herself. The ramshackle trailer at the back of her mother's property was crammed full of junk.
Bathroom door. That's when I came in here. I saw her on the chair. She was taped to it. I just kind of stopped for a minute. I didn't know what to think or what to do. And then I just went up to her and I was checking her pulse. She couldn't feel anything. I just didn't feel anything.
When did you do that?
I just kind of looked at her. Started to cry. I didn't know what to do, what to think.
How long was she dead for? I think they said something like 2 weeks.
I saw her on the back steps and I cried.
Unless there was a time
On
jump
the
that I
fourth
didn't
day
hear.
of the investigation, Josh sent word from the jailhouse that he wanted to speak to the detectives again. It was Saturday, so they had to come into the police station in casual street clothes. Both
God
detectives
forbid.
are skeptical because they're sick and tired
God
of getting a
forbid the police
runaround from
dress a little
Josh and
chill.
Amelia. But this time, Josh was ready to talk. Being locked up in jail loosened his lips.
I tell Heather that we're going over to Amelia's
Maybe
house.
they'd be a little less
Hold the door
tight
open,
wads
Heather goes
if they
in.
had casual
I come
clothing
in
on half
behind,
the time.
And I like, Heather, listen, I want you to sit down so we can talk. And she's like, hell no, I'm out of here. And that's about the time Amelia walked in the door. And that's when she really started getting loud. I tried to grab a hold to her. And she jerked loose of me, so I let her go. She started down the hall. And that's when Amelia hit her in the head with that flashlight. And that's when Heather came back. I called her. I set her up in that chair. And that's when Amelia got the duct tape. And she taped Heather around here and through that. And I taped the bottom of Heather's legs off. And she put tape over Heather's mouth.
It is crazy thinking about doing this to
We
somebody.
walked out the door so I could go home and get the kid. When I talked to Amelia on the phone, she told me, she said, it's done. She told me what she did was wrap tape around that and Heather's nose for a little bit. And that's what choked her out.
For a little bit.
You did hand motion.
Takes minutes.
To show how the bag went over her head and the tape went around her neck. You did hand motions. You know why you did that? That's memory.
It's because you saw it.
That's memory.
You were there when she took her last breath. You were there when she died. Right or wrong?
That's right.
No. Right or wrong?
Right.
Josh tells the detectives that he and Amelia were in on this plot together. Their plan was to get Josh to lure Heather to Amelia's mom's property by asking her to be his lookout while he stole back $1,700 he had returned to Amelia, the money she had loaned him for his lawyer's bill.
Was she fighting then?
Well, she really couldn't, man. My big old ass to her little bitty self.
The adrenaline was flowing.
And I just held her. And Amelia taped her. She told Amelia, she said, I'll leave y'all alone. And Amelia said, well, you're here with him now. You got in the car with him tonight. And she told her, I promise, I'll leave y'all alone. Let me go.
And what did Amelia say to her?
I don't think she said nothing else to her at all. And when she put the bag over her head, she taped it around her neck to where it was solid on her. And she had her arm around her neck. She was trying to snap her neck. She had
You can't do that, by the way. Like that's like not a thing.
I was still sitting on her. And once I knew that Heather had got weak, I could tell she was getting weak because she was just like, then nothing. She wasn't like that no more because the tape was over her mouth, trying to say something.
So she was mumbling at one point when the tape was over her mouth?
She was trying to say something. I don't know what. And then
You didn't know that? Yeah. Movies really like the neck snapping thing because it's very like it looks very intense and it seems like so cool, I guess. But you can't actually, like, people don't, we don't exert a level of force capable of just like, that would be ridiculous. I mean, that would be crazy. I mean, that is a pretty tough thing to do. Hitman does it a lot. Yeah, same with like asphyxiation. Like he's saying it was like she held her nose for a little bit. It takes minutes. Realistically, it takes a lot of time to actually asphyxiate or like run out of oxygen. If somebody's strangling you too, it takes a long time. Like if somebody strangles somebody to death, they spent minutes doing it, considering what they were doing, guaranteed. Which makes it even harder. Makes it even harder to like pretend like it was an accident or too fast or they didn't have enough time to think about it because like once again, it's like it takes multiple minutes for somebody to actually like die of lack of oxygen.
after I got up, because she wasn't moving no more, I got up. When I got up, I guess, I don't know whether it was nerves or what, that made her legs push out, and the chair went back, and Amelia was still behind her with her hand around her. She done tried to snap her neck, she couldn't. She done tried it, she couldn't do it. but she had her hand on her nose over that bag. And I heard her make like a gurgling noise in her throat or something.
And then after she died, you guys took the tape off of her.
And I pulled her down on the floor. I pulled her hair back over her face. Seen her eyes.
Sorry about that.
Man, this dude's regretting everything he ever did.
I know you know it's fucked up now. I know you know that.
I fucked around with her. She killed me.
Josh admitted that jealousy played a big part in his decision to kill Heather.
But when I first got her sent in the chair, I had asked her a couple of things. And that's really what got me. I went to jail on Tuesday. On a Friday, that Friday night, Amelia and Jamie went over there. And I guess Jamie and Heather was drinking or whatever. I don't know. That's what Amelia told me. And she said her and Jamie had sex 3 different times on the couch. And I asked Heather. And she told me, yeah. She came clean with me. And I said, 3 days after you put me in jail, you slept with somebody. She said, yeah. And I lost it. I didn't care then.
When it was over and Heather had stopped breathing, they peeled the tape from her body and pulled the bag off her head. They stuffed her in a black duffel bag, the same one Josh had falsely claimed he saw Heather with at the gas station. It was too small for her body, so her head stuck out. Josh couldn't bear to look at the face, so they covered the head with a blanket they found in the trailer. They hid her under a table in the trailer until Josh could come back the next day after work to bury her. He does a lot of digging in his job as a landscaper, so he dug the grave in just about 20 minutes. They found a board from
Right
the
in
property
front of it,
and
bro.
laid that over
That is-
the body before covering her with dirt. They grabbed some things they found around the yard and piled them on top of the grave as well, springs from a mattress, an orange chair, and the remnants of a television. After his confession to police,
It's a pretty
Josh
shallow
seemed
grave, yeah.
relieved, like a weight had been lifted off him. He
Yeah,
asked the
almost
detectives
like he killed
if he
somebody.
could call his mother.
I need to talk to you, Mom. I want to talk to you. No, I don't need to talk to a lawyer, Mama. I'm guilty. No, I don't. I'm guilty. I done it, Mama. I didn't do it by myself. But I done it. I just got sick of it, Mama. I wanted my babies. I was just tired of her running off, keeping them from me. I was sick of it.
Josh had detailed the
only
horrific
there were
murder
ways
of
to
Heather
keep
Strong.
good
Detectives had
relationships
his
with your
story, but
kids.
they still didn't have much evidence against Amelia. It was Josh's
Step one,
word
maybe not
against
pull a
hers.
gun on the mother.
Luckily, they received a call from Josh's sister, Michelle, on Monday afternoon. She was upset that Josh was going to go down for a murder that he and Amelia had committed together. Why should she walk free? Michelle agreed to let police place a recording device in her vehicle while she met with Amelia. Sergeants Bowie and Spivey watched Michelle pick up Amelia and followed them around to a park. Police waited on the other side of a building and listened to the conversation using a monitoring device. Amelia told Michelle that as long as Josh stayed quiet, they could pin the murder on Jamie and Jason because they were already being scrutinized by the police. Amelia justified it by saying they both needed to stay out of prison for the sake of their kids.
It's just a mess, Amelia. I mean, it's breaking my heart.
He shouldn't be in there. I'm telling you right now.
I want the true story from you. You got to tell me the truth so I can help you with Josh.
What else did he tell you, Michelle?
Man, please tell me your side.
What did he tell you? And did he tell you over recorded phones?
No.
Please tell him just keep his mouth.
You ever recorded phones? No.
Imagine.
Please tell him just keep his mouth shut and to keep his head up because everything's gonna be okay. I don't know when, but he's got to stop talking to them. So what is he gonna do now? If he confesses to this, we both go down, and we both lose our kids.
So, tell me what happened that night, because 3 heads are better than 2.
Yeah.
As hard as you think it is to give me details or that I can't handle it, it's what we're going to have to do so that we can get stories straight.
When I got out there, he was talking to her. She tried to run for the door, and she knocked me down. He tried to go back, and he started to take her to the chair so she couldn't run.
What happened next?
He put the bag over her head. He tried to snap her neck. That didn't work.
You did?
Yeah.
I was a freaking detective.
Oh, crap.
Uh-oh. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, your mama told us you were up here.
Okay.
Can we talk to you for a second?
Yeah.
Gulp.
Amelia was transported back to the Marion County Sheriff's Office by the detectives. Almost a week after
they
the
didn't
first
waste
time
a
they had
second.
interviewed Amelia, they decided to interrogate her again. And this time, they confront her
I
with
wasn't
the
expecting- they didn't
secret
wait a
surveillance
second, bro.
recording from Michelle's car.
Today, you had a conversation with Josh's sister. That conversation was recorded. Over.
Dork.
You, out of your own mouth, admitted to being there.
You used some of the words that I just used.
She wasn't discussing that over
I
the
waited
phone. She was in a
house for
car
few
with
minutes,
the other guy's
just
sister.
like I was told. There was a recorder in her car. There was a microphone in her car so we could listen to you. We didn't just stumble across that car sitting in the park.
Yeah, no.
Okay? We heard everything. Now, let's go back to what I was just saying. You
Yeah, her
have no
foot's on the
remorse.
detective's chair.
I'm not trying to be mean, but quite frankly, so far, you have shown that you're acting like a cold-hearted, hateful person who killed the mother of 2 children. Okay?
I don't cry.
No, because you sit right here stone cold and stare in that man's face and lie to his face. After you told that girl today you tried to break her neck, and it didn't work.
You remember that? Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Remember those words? It came from whose mouth?
Fine.
But is that right?
That's more evidence.
Were there with Josh when Heather took her last breath? I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Detectives had finally cracked Amelia's shell of denial. She admitted that she was there when Heather died. Now it was time to coax her into demonstrating
Oh,
exactly
God.
what part she had played.
Show me where you were standing at. If I'm her sitting in this chair, show me where you were standing at.
This is crazy, bro. Why?
The first time.
The only time.
Which time? This is
Okay, I'll
crazy.
trust you. Come on.
Okay. How far back do you want me to go?
When you were standing behind her trying
After she was taped, and I put the bag over her head, and he taped it, and I pulled the tape, and he taped it. I made a little attempt because I was scared and I was shaking, and I told him I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Both people needed consent to be recorded. Not if it's the police. That's if it's a private, like, between person and person, because it's like a police interrogation / a police recording. There's this there's rules sort of negating that. Laws for me, not for thee. No, it's not that. It's just that it's like the police are basically like, it's to probably catch a murderer, so they kind of like get a little pass on that sort of thing. They didn't plant the recording device on the sister. The sister consensually cooperated with the police. The guy's sister
54 months
went to the police and consented to a recording in her car to help the police and approached Amelia. So it wasn't like the police just like did it with nobody aware, but it is this like, once again, but the suspect did it, that doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, they can't, it's an investigation. It's not like they're investigating a murder. So it's like, it's a bit different than like you just recording a conversation you're having with somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I get what you're trying to point out, but at the same time, like, this is one of those things where it's like, well, what do you want them to do? Because if you, they can't really do anything about that, because if the police are like, by the way, can we record this? She's just not going to say a single thing. But because they didn't, because they got the other person to cooperate, they got a confession that they needed. So it's like, it's kind of that thing where it's like, well, if we were to play by that rule, it's just not going to happen. So the police get, it's like interrogations where like the body language and the camaraderie or the intimidation, the lying, it falls under this like, well, the police sort of lied, sort of bent the truth in order to catch a murderer. So is it really that big of a deal that they like low-key lied and somebody was too stupid to notice? Is it a big deal that they recorded in somebody's car who consented to doing that to approach a killer and get the killer to admit to them that they did it? Kind of, but at the same time, she literally fucking confessed
freaks,
on her own.
Just lurking, have fun with crime time.
So it's like, I mean, you're just kind of stupid for doing that as well. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of dumb for this person to just like out loud admit to doing it to somebody, especially the sister of the dude who's in jail. You know what I mean? So it's like, I get what you're saying. In a lot of states, there are like the two-party laws where it's like technically both sides need to consent to a recording in order for it to be like allowed or even legal. But there's a lot of weird nuances to conversations and stuff like that. And with a lot of law, you'll see this happen a lot with a lot of verbal and communicative laws. Especially with the police, because the police do a lot of bending of truth and conversation in order to try to get better or closer to a case being solved. You know what I mean? So it's like, you'll find a lot of nuance comes with laws sort of talking about verbal consent and stuff, because once again, it's just like one of the most gray areas of gray areas. The defense attorney could definitely try to make a case that way. Yeah, it could definitely be, he could try to suppress the evidence in that regard. I don't know how well that would work, because the judge would be very aware of like the intentions of the police. It's not like it's just a random recording and she just happened to have it. Because that would be the difference. The difference that you're talking would be like if the sister of Josh, if Josh's sister came to the police with the recording herself. That wasn't motivated by the police to solve an investigation. That was motivated by Josh's sister to record somebody without their knowledge. And while the police can do that in the name of justice, like a person can't just do that in a two-party consent state and then just like go and turn them in. That's like kind of
Holy
why the
shit,
rules
the big
made.
50. I'm so old.
So-
Glad to see you return to Crim Tim Shartman. Anyway, can you guys believe America is 25 years old?
Oh my. Yeah, man. He's for the 50.
Once or twice, and I couldn't.
How many times do you
Twice.
think you tried?
Because I couldn't do it. And I told him I was shaking so bad. I said, Josh, I can't do this.
Nobody can
so
do
then
it.
I stepped back.
Okay.
And he went around and he took care of it.
But you tried to snap her neck because you wanted it to be
Because I was
quick.
scared.
You wanted it to be quick.
Yeah, I didn't want her to suffer.
You didn't want her to suffer, so you tried to break her neck.
And I couldn't do it.
Tied
I
her
was
up,
shaking
killed
so
her,
bad.
choked her out. I didn't want her to
So then I
suffer.
just stepped back and he took over. And he held his hand over her nose and her mouth so that she couldn't breathe.
Only you and him know exactly
Yeah, I know.
who did what, because one's
It's a
pointing
totally
at the
different
other one.
account than what he
But
is saying
both
as
you guys
well.
were there, present, assisting each other when she took her last breath. Correct?
So even though I didn't kill him, we get
Correct.
charged with the same thing as him.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you stood there and watched somebody die.
You don't think you deserve that?
No, because I didn't kill her. I really didn't.
What was she saying to you?
She's crying.
What was she saying?
He had taped her mouth.
What was she saying before her mouth was taped?
Was there a reason she asked you not to do that to her?
Sure.
What did she say to you?
Did she ever give a reason why she didn't want to be taped up or held down?
So she was claustrophobic. And his comment to her was, I was claustrophobic when you had me sitting in Marion County Jail for 31 effing days away from my kid. Was his comment to her.
Yeah, that's something Josh didn't tell us.
Josh and Amelia each had their own motivations for killing Heather Strong. Josh was sick of Heather leaving him, canoodling with other men and threatening to take away his children. And he was angry that her police complaint had landed him in jail, costing him money and his freedom. Amelia was about to give birth to Josh's baby, and although she denied it, detectives believed she was resentful that Josh preferred Heather over her. Both killers tried to assign the most horrific actions they inflicted on Heather to each other. But they were both acting in tandem, so in the eyes of the law, they are equally responsible for her death.
Yep.
Amelia's trial happened first. The state sought the death penalty. In late 2010, she was convicted of first-degree murder and kidnapping.
First degree
A jury
in Florida,
voted
not
for
good.
the death sentence.
No.
Amelia's family members tried to save her by testifying during the penalty phase
that is-
of the trial about her past trauma that she had suffered. They divulged that she had been sexually abused by her grandfather and father starting at age 4. In 2004, Amelia's father was sentenced to 48 months in prison for attempting to hire a hitman on his wife and 2 of his daughters, including Amelia, to prevent them from testifying against him. But the jury was not moved by Amelia's troubled past. They voted 7-5 to put her to death by lethal injection. A judge accepted that decision, and she was sent to death row at the Lowell Correctional Institute in Ocala. The state of Florida was also seeking the death penalty for Josh. His case went on trial in 2012. He was convicted of kidnapping and first-degree murder. Even though Amelia and Josh killed Heather together, Josh's jury was more lenient. They voted 8-4 to sentence him to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
That's classic.
Although Amelia had callously taken a life, she didn't want to lose hers. She and her lawyers fought hard for years to get the death sentence overturned. In 2017, she was resentenced to life without the possibility of parole after a 2016 Florida Supreme Court ruling that required a jury to be unanimous when recommending death for a judge to consider imposing the death sentence.
That is true, yes. That is a true thing now. I believe most states are like that, period, where the death sentence has to be unanimous. It can't be like an odd man out or a majority. It has to be unanimous. And in fact, you can't even be on the jury of a death sentence trial unless you consent to being somebody who would pull the trigger on killing somebody for a death sentence. So why would he get a more lenient sentence? Welcome to the justice system, man. It's because he's a white guy. Yeah, that's literally it. That's all that it is. And that happens time and time again. And in fact, this is a perfect example of it, because you get two completely different people doing the same crime together. One gets sentenced to die, the other doesn't. And her thing got reduced eventually, but she has to go through years and years of trying to get that changed. But yeah, it's a great example of why it's so flawed, is because not only do juries act more lenient, judges act more lenient. Happens a lot.
4 months after killing Heather, Josh wrote a letter to Heather's mother, Carolyn Spence, asking her to take care of his kids. He talked about the trauma that they would endure in their lives. He said that he still loved Heather and that he had hoped to get the death penalty for murdering her. While the police were investigating this case, he tried to hang himself in jail when his kids were taken into state custody. There is an unfortunate and unsettling note to the end of this story. Donald Bowie, the police officer who took the lead in interviewing Heather's killers, was known for being a tenacious cop who had a knack for getting into suspects' heads. But a decade later, he faced his own legal troubles. In 2019, Bowie pled guilty to committing domestic violence against a woman. He had inflicted both battery and strangulation on the victim. Home security videos supported the woman's allegations. He was sentenced to 5 years of probation and ordered not to have any contact with the victim. He was required to complete a batterer's intervention program and counseling sessions. He was also forced to forfeit his law enforcement certifications.
Wow.
If you found this case compelling, don't forget to like the video. Comment down below.
No jail, but 5 years on watch, no contact with her, all of his career taken away from him. That's pretty wild. I mean, I'd expect them to just give the cop a slap on the wrist with one of those things, but that is like, I mean, low-key, that's a pretty intense punishment for a police officer. Not that it should be like that. It should be way harsher, maybe definitely jail, but yeah. It's shocking to see a sentencing so actually retributive. Yeah. Is it because of race? Oh, probably. Yeah. Unfortunately, probably. And that's exactly what we brought up with her getting the death penalty and him not. It's like, that's just literally, unfortunately, what the system was built off of and what the system carries around, whether people admit it or not. And humans in general are like that, which sucks. There's, inherent biases based off of experience in life in general, whether positive or negative. Excuse me. And even if people don't admit to it, they have them. America needs a reboot? Well, no. This isn't just an American issue. This is what's so funny to me is, we'll go over stuff like this, and it's obviously very mostly American because that's where I know best. There's problems everywhere. There's problems all over. You complain about Americans getting shot, but England has stabbings all the time. Australia has a major issue with domestic violence, especially because of alcohol and in general. You can find issues wherever you go. You can have problems with the issues of the place you live or a place that you're not at. But yeah, there are just as big issues elsewhere, for sure. They might not be as publicly ugly, but they're still issues. It's not just a one country sort of deal. It's always very funny when whenever something bad happens or a law gets passed or some tragedy occurs and people are talking about leaving, I'm like, I mean, you can go, but like, once again, it's not like you go and you're going to find the pinnacle of humanity elsewhere. You might be happier. You might find somewhere that you're happier, and that's totally good. But like, you're going to find just as hard of a pill to swallow in some regard elsewhere, no matter what. It's like the people who stream and move to Austin because they don't want to be taxed as hard. Yeah, but you know how fucking expensive everything else is because there's no tax in that regard? A lot. Like, they probably pay as much as I do for an apartment down there. I have a nice house where I live, and I'm grateful for that because of you guys. They probably pay almost as much as I do for something not even close to the size in square footage. Like, and that's just a microcosm. Like, that has nothing to do with crime or anything. That's just economy issues, whatever. But like, when a state removes tax, property-wise, whatever, it just basically makes everything else move up in price. And even though it seems like it's nice, or that'll be a good thing, and sometimes it's a good thing because you might have expensive things, but once again, everything else gets expensive. I mean, there are lots, guys, there are lots in downtown Bentonville. You could look this up. You could go to the Bentonville Square in Northwest Arkansas. You can go on like Zillow, whatever. There is a lot. There are guaranteed a couple of lots where the square footage of the house is like maybe 1,000 square feet. And it's run down. Like, it's not been lived in. It's just sitting there. It's $1 million. Guarantee it. It'll be $1 million because the place is so valuable. It's an absolute shit box, but because of where it is, it'll be $1 million. And that's just how it goes. That's like a totally moot point compared to this, but yeah, I mean, and I mean, all of these little bit of like examples or nuances between everything, race, sexuality, gender, everything, all of that plays a factor in the criminal justice system, even if people pretend it doesn't. It's crazy. And the jury might pretend it isn't, the judge might pretend it isn't, but you can go to one specific judge and just look at his or her rulings, and just see, you could find a very similar case, and I guarantee you, if the person's not the same type of person,
a few years ago, I can't remember
the
exactly, the
will be
head
different.
of the Metropolitan Police in the UK issued a warning to women, essentially saying that if they were ever alone with a male police officer, they should immediately attempt to find more people, even if they need to literally call the police to send more people there.
Yep. Well, nowadays, the police don't typically do stuff singularly in America. This is an interesting thing. Depending on the manpower at the time, maybe. But even with this case in Minnesota, the guy who shot the governor, the two governors, and their spouses, the police started answering doors to question people or to ask about things in pairs because the guy was impersonating a police officer by himself. So in order to make people feel more at ease, they showed up as pairs or more rather than by themselves. And even like traffic stops and stuff, sometimes you'll have two police officers pull over. Like, if a police officer pulls somebody over and another one is nearby, they'll show up because it's like safer for them as well as you. Ideally, because like, once again, nothing stops the person from just like taking out that cop and going. I mean, obviously a lot's stopping them, but nothing would stop that cop from also acting out of line, etc. It happens a lot. And I mean, it's kind of a decent safety measure on both ends, because like the police get a bit of safety in the fact that like they might not get like jumped by whoever they're pulling over, and then you might not get jumped by some random cop going on a trip if he's with somebody else who's
If you're alone
not
with a
that
male
way.
police officer, go get more help. Oh, We should fire our male officers for it. Crack down on procedures. Don't be silly.
Right. Well, that was a crazy case.